in the transition to a clean energy economy. The offshore wind energy and its supply chain represent a potential of $100 billion in economic investments across North Carolina, tens of thousands of family-sustaining jobs for North Carolinians, and clean renewable energy to power hundreds of thousands of North Carolina homes and businesses. And North Carolina has some significant advantages when it comes to offshore wind. We have the greatest potential for offshore wind power generation of any state on the East Coast. That's thanks to a long coastline, high offshore wind levels, and shallow water depths in the federal waters off our coast. Our central location on the East Coast means we support and are responsible for the development of offshore wind up and down the entire eastern seaboard by supplying parts manufactured in North Carolina as well as maritime support. And North Carolina has the largest manufacturing presence on the East Coast and the highly skilled, diverse workforce to support it. Our state has the largest manufacturing workforce in the Southeast with more than 455,000 manufacturing employees. North Carolina is fortunate to be entering the offshore wind market at this time when we can benefit from all the knowledge and experience of global wind leaders like Denmark. Over the past 40 years, Denmark has progressed from dependent entirely on imported fossil fuels to generating nearly 70% of its electricity from renewable sources like wind energy. Offshore wind is what I like to call a win-win. It's good for the people, it's good for our environment, and it's good for businesses. Director General, on behalf of the North Carolina Department of Commerce and the citizens and residents who we serve, I thank you and the Danish Energy Agency team for your commitment to helping others around the world make a transition to clean energy. With partners like you, North Carolina is on its right track to succeed in the responsible development of offshore wind and to transition to clean energy, a clean energy economy, one that benefits all residents of North Carolina. Thank you for your partnership.
Thank you so much. First of all, it's so great to meet you, Secretary Machelle Baker-Sanders. It's a pleasure to start this hopefully fruitful and certainly important collaboration between our agencies. Our collaboration hopes to inspire dialogues and knowledge sharing in both directions. And we are glad to embark on this journey today. I believe that the reason we will be successful in this collaboration is that North Carolina and Denmark has a lot in common. Not only are we open to new ideas and inspiration from others, we are also frontrunners in having extremely ambitious targets on climate and energy. The green transition is accelerating, and both our goals have increased over the last couple of years. In 2022, North Carolina set the ambitious goal of 50% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 and net zero emissions as soon as possible and no later than by 2050 by issuing Executive Order number 246. And our goals in Denmark have been set at 70% emission reductions by 2030 and 100% green electricity by 2030 as well. And 100% climate neutrality by 2045 and 110% emission reductions by 2050. Over the next decade, both our agencies will play a leading role in the development of offshore wind while ensuring a well-educated workforce and job creation. On top of this comes the integration of new technologies such as green hydrogen and CCUS, which today seems like some of the key components for achieving a carbon neutral energy mix across all sectors. Implementing these new energy solutions on a large scale is not an easy task, let alone regulating it. This is uncharted territory for us all. Both our agencies have to implement long-term commitments to reach our climate, energy, and decarbonization targets. And at the same time, we must deliver short and mid-term action. This means that we are facing some of the same challenges in integrating renewables such as large-scale offshore wind, supporting electrification and decarbonization of our energy systems. This is where I believe it is obvious to collaborate across countries and governments to learn from each other, to identify best practices and regulation, and to speed up the green energy transition. Finally, I know that your team is planning with my team on going to Denmark in April. This is excellent, but I would also use this opportunity to personally invite you, Secretary Baker Sanders, to Denmark to experience what it looks like in a country where we have been building offshore wind farms for more than 30 years. And if you come, I would like to show you the port of Esbjerg, which is a power hub for offshore wind in Europe, which is serving all sides of the North Sea today. We can also visit an offshore wind farm in full production, or we can visit some of the factories where the big turbines are being produced today. And with these words, I will be happy to turn to our signing of the MOUs. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Er det ikke nu, vi skal klappe? Wow.
Thank you so much.
Director. Thank you. And I look forward to meeting you and seeing you in April.
Very good. And the weather today in Copenhagen is so fine, so I think the spring is coming. And I hope the spring will be here in April as well.
That's great. I look forward to going to the downtown area.
You bet. It's a nice city, and I would like to come and visit you in North Carolina when we have the opportunity.
Great. We'd welcome you and your team, and would love to have you come visit us in North Carolina. The weather here today is like a spring day almost. So hopefully when you come, you'll have that same weather. But that happens to be every day in North Carolina. So I'm sure it will be here when you come.
That's much better than Denmark. We had -5 degrees Celsius just a couple of days ago. So
yeah, I visited Denmark often. I was in Hillerød, and I used to stay in Copenhagen.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Then you know Copenhagen much better than I know North Carolina. But I've been visiting US a lot of times, both with my family, but also professional. And as you know, we have very good and promising cooperations with some of the other US states like California, New York, and I'm sure that we have a very good foundation to start up a close cooperation with you, and with your ambitious targets. It's very promising actually, and the team here with me today, Jeppe, he he were personally responsible for the last offshore tender in Denmark, 1 gigawatt offshore wind, which actually were the first tender in Denmark to bring in an income to the state of Denmark for almost €500 million. So Jeppe is one of the key persons who have turned offshore wind from a subsidy industry to an income industry. So I think you
Together
are
with a lot of colleagues.
in the best hands with Jeppe.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to working with you and collaborating. The team here today, this team leads our NC Towers, which is offshore wind. It's a task force and a commission that was endorsed and directed by the governor's executive order. And so the team has been working diligently, and thanks to their leadership and the governor's leadership and many others, North Carolina has been a leader in the space in the U.S., and we look forward to being able to continue to move things forward in collaboration with you and have a global impact and global relationships across the world, hopefully. And so we look forward to that. And thank you very much for your time today, Director, and look forward to meeting you. And again, please feel welcome to come visit us and just let us know, and we welcome you anytime.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye all.
Bye.
Det er mig til, det var 3 kvinder.